أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وخاتم النبيين أبو القاسم محمد وآل أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. Respected brothers and sisters, this year, the 6th of July 2023 coincides with the 18th of Dhul Hijjah, which is the event of Ghadeer. So I would first like to congratulate all mu'mineen wal mu'minat on this blessed day of Eid al-Ghadeer, which to us Shi'as is the greatest day, as in this day the Prophet appointed, Allah appointed the successor of the Prophet, his Khalifa on the earth, his Wazir, his Wasi, his Wali. Now obviously right off the bat, there's a lot of questions as to what is Ghadeer? Where is Ghadeer? What happened on this day? Now before I actually answer all these questions, we need to take a few steps back. To where? To the farewell pilgrimage, to Hajjatul Wada, to the last Hajj of the Prophet. 10 years after the migration, the Messenger of Allah ordered his close followers to call all the people in different places to join him in his last Hajj. Now in this Hajj, the Prophet taught them how to perform the pilgrimage in a correct and uniform form. This was the first time that the Muslims with this magnitude gathered in one place in the presence of their leader, which is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now in reports that on his way to Mecca, more than 70,000 people followed the Prophet. And on the 4th day of Dhul Hijjah, more than 100,000 people entered Mecca. Now after completing his Hajj, when he was leaving Mecca towards Medina, he and a crowd of people reached a place called Ghadeer al-Khumm. It is a place where people from different provinces used to greet each other before taking different routes to their homes. Now the Prophet completed his last and only Hajj pilgrimage a year later before his martyrdom. Now knowing that this was his time, that his time on this earth was coming to an end, he stopped at a place like I mentioned, Ghadeer al-Khumm, and gathered a large number of Muslims to witness his sermon. Now various Islamic sources have cited this particular sermon, but the part that I wish to focus on in this lecture in particular is the part in which he says, Man kuntu mawla fa aliyun mawla, which translates to, whomsoever I have authority, I am his mawla, Ali has authority over him, yani Ali is his mawla as well. Now this particular part of the sermon is known as Hadith of Ghadeer, and it is very important for us Shia Muslims, as in it illustrates the fact that Mawla Ali alayhi salam and the rest of the Ahlul Bayt should have been the natural successors of the Prophet, right? And for this reason, you find majority of the Shias use this as dalil for the successorship of Imam Ali alayhi salam. And with this comes a lot of misconceptions, of course, as to what does the word Mawla mean? What does the word Wali mean? Why is this such an important day for the Shias? Why is it that we see every single year, we see Shia Muslims observing and celebrating this day, fasting on this day, using this day as a day of faith? We also have a lot of questions where the opposing sects ask us to prove whether or not Hadith al-Ghadeer actually is mutawatir or not. And in order to answer all of these questions, we must give a very short summarization of this event. I'm not going to be going over full detail. I'm just going to giving you a very slight summarization. Now Ghadeer al-Khumm, Ghadeer is an Arabic word which translates to a pond. So Ghadeer al-Khumm means a pond of Khumm. So when the Prophet reached this pond at Ghadeer, first of all performed 2 rak'ahs of namaz, of salah. Now I don't know exactly what this prayer was. I still have to research on that. But he prayed 2 rak'ahs. And after he prayed 2 rak'ahs, now since Ghadeer is a pond, with water flowing and green one place, green sand in the other place, water ponds, he asked his companions, he asked the followers to stack up their saddles so it can make a baseline for the Prophet to stand on and give his last sermon. Now when the Prophet stood on those saddles, gave him a sort of a high point, sort of a higher ground to look upon the people. And he said that one day all of us will die. One day you will die. And in fact, my death upon me is very close. So I must convey to you my final sermon. And he said that I will be questioned on Yawm al-Qiyamah. I will be questioned how I conveyed my message to you, and you will be questioned how you took that message, how you held up yourself. Did you follow my message? Did you go astray? Then he went further on. It's a very long sermon. He went on to narrate Hadith of Ghadeer, which is the 2 weighty things, the Quran and the Ahlul Bayt. And then he said that he will be asked about Hadith of Ghadeer. Did you hold on to them? Did you hold on to only one? Did you leave the other? Because one is greater than the other. The Book of Allah and the Ahlul Bayt. The Book of Allah is a rope that extends from the skies, and the Ahlul Bayt is a rope that attaches to it. Now this is obviously a metaphorical term. So just listen to the gravity, just listen to the weight of the situation. As in, the Prophet is telling us, is adding weight that you will be asked about this Hadith of Ghadeer. You will be asked about this sermon, whether you took it or whether you believed in it or whether you ignored it, whether you went astray, right? Now after narrating Hadith of Ghadeer to the crowd, he said to Ali alayhi salam, he said, come on, join me. Ali alayhi salam joined him. And then the Prophet raised his hand up, and I'm not going to say anything further than this, because this is our topic of discussion. I'm not going to say anything what happened after this, because we're going to be going over what happened. Why did the Prophet raise the hand of Ali? We're going to be going over this in such detail, in such in-depth explanation and in-depth analysis of the Hadith of Ghadeer, which is the main part of the focus of this lecture. Hadith of Ghadeer is just like a starter point. It's just like a stem point for this narration, for the narration of the Hadith of Ghadeer. Why? It's because the Prophet is telling us to follow the Book of Allah and to follow my Ahlul Bayt. And then he moves on to narrating Hadith of Ghadeer. Now without further ado, inshallah, let's go over and discuss Hadith of Ghadeer in complete depth. Now the very first thing to start off, the first thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be proving the tawatur of Hadith of Ghadeer. I'm going to be proving that the Hadith of Ghadeer is in fact mutawatir. But in order for me to do that, we need a definition of a mutawatir hadith, correct? Because without a proper definition of what a mutawatir hadith is, what I'm going to be showing to you would make no sense, right? For large. So what is a mutawatir hadith? What conditions does a hadith have to reach in order to reach the level of a tawatur hadith? A mutawatir hadith is defined is when a hadith reaches a status to where it is so massively transmitted, so widely narrated, that the rijalis, the scholars, they say, do not question its authenticity. Do not question its chain of narrators. Take it as it is, do not question it. Correct? So before I actually prove that the Hadith of Ghadeer is in fact mutawatir, I'm going to just show a few scholarly opinions a few scholarly definitions of a mutawatir hadith. So the first source we have in front of us is Kitab al-Nuzhat al-Nadhr. This is by Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, and he says that a mutawatir hadith should not be questioned, should not be examined. The chains of narrators should not be examined, and it should be taken without searching about. The next source is in Al-Kitab al-Tahqiq al-Raghbah by Abdul Karim, and he says the exact same thing, that there is no need to check the status of the men in the chain, the chain of narrators, and it should be taken without question. The next source is Al-Tadrib al-Rawi by As-Sayyuti, and he says the exact same thing, that there is no need to check the chains of narrators because it is impossible for all of them to lie, right? So thus take all of the narrators as a thukka, as thikka, right? And even in Bidayah wa Nihaya, it's the exact same that you should not question the narrators in the chain, take it as it is, do not question its authenticity. Now we move on to proving that the Hadith of Ghadeer is in fact mutawatir. In the Kitab al-Masa'ib al-Nawasib, very good, it says here that this in particular hadith, the Hadith of Ghadeer, has reached a level higher than the level of tawatur. And this narration of the Prophet, this sermon of the Prophet, includes clear evidence of the appointment of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Right? Very beautiful. The next source is Al-Kitab al-Manaqib by Ibn Shah Rashub. I hope I didn't butcher that name. But anyways, it says here that the scholars agree that this particular sermon, this particular hadith, has reached the level beyond the level of tawatur. The same thing in Kitab Ghayat al-Murab by Sayyid Hashim al-Bahrani. He says that the narration of the point of khumm has reached the level of tawatur, and it reached the level higher than the level of tawatur, and it has over 75 different chains, and the author Muhammad ibn Jarir mentions all 75 chains in his book called Kitab al-Wilayah. And again in Masa'ib al-Nawasib we read the exact same thing, that it is beyond the level of your mutawatir. The same thing in Mirqa al-Mafatih, we read the exact same thing. In Iqbat al-Nawal we read the exact same thing. It's completely mutawatir. There is no question about the chains of narrators, there is no question about its authenticity. It is proven to be mutawatir. Now that I've proven that Hadith of Ghadeer, not only is it mutawatir, but according to a lot of these scholars has reached a level beyond that of a tawatur hadith, and it has over 75 different chains. 75 chains, and I've listed a lot of them in this lecture, in this one note. Now the second topic of discussion is the revelation of the verse of Tabligh, which is the 67th verse of Surah Al-Ma'idah, which is the 5th chapter of the Holy Quran. And this verse is very, very important. Why is it important? Let's see. This verse says right here that, O Messenger of Allah, convey everything revealed to you from your Lord. Pay close attention. O Messenger of Allah, convey everything revealed to you from your Lord. If you do not, then you have not delivered His message, and Allah will certainly protect you from the people. From who? From the munafiqeen. And indeed, Allah does not guide those who disbelieve. Now a lot of the people, they'll look at this verse and they'll say, oh, this is just some ordinary verse to praise. What benefits does this hold? What relation does this have to the Hadith of Ghadeer? What if I tell you that this verse of the Holy Quran was revealed right at Ghadeer al-Khumm, and I have proof for it? what will you say? Will you deny, will you go against the Holy Quran? If I show you that this was revealed at Ghadeer al-Khumm. But again, a lot of people will say that this holds no benefit, this holds no weight. But I'll show you how the weight it holds later on. Now I'm going to be proving that this verse was revealed during the event of Ghadeer. The first book is Asbab al-Nuzul al-Quran. And it says here, يوم القدير يوم الغدير الخم في علي ibn Abi Talib. It says نزلت هذه الآية يوم الغدير خم في علي ibn Abi Talib. It says that this particular verse was revealed at Yawm al-Ghadeer for Ali ibn Abi Talib. Right? Now for all these scandoids out there, there's a better scan for this. And it says right here, نزلت هذه الآية يوم الغدير في علي ibn Abi Talib. The same in Tafsir al-Mansur. This is a very old scan of Asbab al-Nuzul. Same thing. يوم الغدير الخم في علي ibn Abi Talib. Abu Sayyid al-Khudri narrates to us that this was revealed at Ghadeer al-Khumm in Tafsir al-Kabir. Right? Same exact thing. قال من كنت متفاعليا. We'll get to that later inshallah. But I'm just going over this verse, not at the actual sermon. But it is mentioned in these verses as well. يوم القدير في علي ibn Abi Talib. Right? In Fath al-Qadir, read the exact same thing. قال أبو سعيد الخدري قال نزلت هذه الآية على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله يوم الغدير الخم في علي بن أبي طالب. And Tafsir Fakhr al-Razi, same exact thing. And these all come from Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, who was one of the 7 Rijal al-Bukhari, the 7 Ashab who have narrated the most narrations in both Sahih Bukhari and Muslim. So you cannot question these. First of all, you can never question tafsir books. And other than that, this is narrated to Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, so you cannot question the authenticity of these proof that I'm showing you. In Tafsir Gharab al-Quran, we read the exact same thing, and all of them are narrated through Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. Fath al-Qadir again, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. Tafsir al-Tabari, this is an older print. This is a very old book, but it says the exact same thing. Even in the Ghadeer declaration by Tahir Qadri, right? Look at this. It has been narrated by Abdullah ibn Abbas, Bara ibn Aziz, and Abu Muhammad ibn Ali that this was narrated at Ghadeer al-Khumm. This verse has been revealed to stress Ali ibn Abi Talib's excellence. When this verse was revealed, the Prophet caught the hold of Ali's hand and said, we'll get on to that later on. Umdatul Qari, exact same thing. Right? In Kashful Bayan, exact same thing. In Bihar al-Munbar as well, exact same thing. This is the source. And even in our greatest Shi'i tafsir books, Tafsir al-Burhan. Now unfortunately, Tafsir al-Burhan is yet to be translated into English because it has so many volumes, but I know some brothers that are working on it, and inshallah it will be out soon. Maybe not soon, but it is being worked on. So we've looked at the verse and we have proven that this verse was in fact revealed at Ghadeer al-Khumm to prove the excellence of Ali ibn Abi Talib. But for what excellence, it's yet to be discovered. But we're going to be moving on to the last sermon, the sermon of the last Hajj of the Prophet. Now, I wasn't originally going to be going over Hadith of Thaqalain, but as I mentioned at the start, that this is kind of a stem point, kind of a connection, kind of a starting, kind of the tip of the iceberg, the fuel to the flame. Because it's very important we go through and we go over the importance of Hadith of Ghadeer of Hadith al-Thaqalain before we move on to Hadith of Ghadeer. So we read in Jami al-Tirmidhi, and this is narrated to Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, that I saw the Messenger of Allah during his Hajj on the day of Arafah. He was upon his camel al-Qaswa, giving a khutbah, and he said, O people, indeed I have left among you that which if you hold fast to, you shall not go astray. The book of Allah and the family, the people of my house. And this narration is Sahih. You can find this in Jami al-Tirmidhi 3786 on Sunan.com, and if you have the book in hand, then the Arabic version is this, and the English translated is this. And again in Jami al-Tirmidhi you will read, narrated by Zayd ibn Arqam and Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, the exact same thing that the Messenger of Allah said, indeed I am leaving among you that which if you hold on to, you shall not be misguided after me. One of them is greater than the other, like I mentioned at the start. The book of Allah is a rope extended from the sky to the earth, and my family, the Prophet, the people of my house, and they shall not split until they meet at the Hawd of Kawthar. So look at how you deal with them after me. Like I said at the start, the Prophet mentioned Hadith of Thaqalain, and then he mentioned that you will be asked how you took this. You will be asked if you looked after these two weighty things. And once again, this narration is Sahih, Jami al-Tirmidhi 3788, and you can look up this. And now I'm just going to go over different chains of narrations of Hadith of Thaqalain, because I don't want to waste a lot of time going over Hadith of Thaqalain, because the main topic of focus for us today is Hadith of Ghadeer, right? So I'm just going to be going over how many chains this has. I'm going to be showing you the gradings along with it, inshallah. So first source, this is the book, this is the narration. Majma' al-Kabir by Tabarani. Same exact narration. In Khasais al-Ali, look at this. The hadith is Sahih, and all the Rijal al-Thuqat min Rijal al-Shaykhain. What does that mean? That every single narrator in this hadith is thiqah, is trustworthy, and all of them are from Rijal al-Shaykhain, yani Rijal al-Bukhari, by Rijal al-Muslim. And this is the English print of Khasais Ali. You can pause to read if you want. Hadith is not Sahih. It's not Sahih. Muslim Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Now, obviously, Hadith of Ghadeer has a lot of misconceptions about it as well, as to the nawasib of the variation of following the Book of Allah and the Prophet's Sunnah, which is fabricated. But that, like I said, is a topic for another day. Right now, we need to focus on Hadith of Ghadeer. Now, at the very beginning of my lecture, I mentioned that over 100,000 people entered Makkah. But what was the attendance at Ghadeer? What was the number of attendants during the speech of the Prophet, during the sermon of the Prophet in Ghadeer? Book Tazkiratul Khawais, that the attendance, the number of attendants, the number of people, the number of Muslims present at Ghadeer al-Khumm were over 120,000. 120,000 people gathered in one place to witness the last sermon of the Prophet. Now that we've gone over the tawatur of Hadith of Ghadeer, we've gone over the words of Tabligh proving that it was revealed during Ghadeer, and we've gone over Hadith of Ghadeer, and now we've gone over the number of attendants at Ghadeer. So now, ladies and gentlemen, is the moment you've all been waiting for. This, brothers and sisters, is where stuff gets juicy, or should I say, majuicy. Anyways, now we move on to the actual important part of this lecture, the Hadith of Ghadeer. But before we move on, before I actually show you sources, there's another very important verse of the Holy Quran that needs to be discussed, and that is, my apologies, the verse is in Surah Al-Ahzab, verse 6. What is this verse? What does it say? It says, the Prophet has stronger affinity to the believers than they do themselves. What does this mean? This means that the Prophet has more authority over believing men, believing women, than they do over themselves. As ordained by Allah, blood relatives are more entitled to inheritance than other believers and immigrants. Very important. This is a decree of the record. Why is this verse important? It's because before actually narrating the Hadith of Ghadeer, the Prophet, what he does, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is he recites this verse. He reminds the people of his authority over him. Now, why does he do that? I'll get to that soon. But we read in Musnad Ahmad ibn Hanbal that the Prophet recited this verse. He asked the people, "O people, Ya ayyuhan nas, do I not have more authority over you than you do over yourselves?" They said, "Bala ya Rasulullah, na'am ya Rasulullah." This is when the Prophet raised the hand of Ali and he said, "Then bear witness. Man kuntu mawla fa aliyun mawla." Whoever I have authority over, whoever I am a mawla, whoever I have authority over, Ali has authority over. Why? Why did the Prophet remind them of his authority? He could have just narrated Man kuntu mawla fa aliyun mawla. It's to ridicule the cope that the Nawasib used to say that Mawla means friend. If Mawla means friend, why would the Prophet remind the people of his authority over? Why? And why would he say that if I have authority over you, Ali has authority over you? What? Is there not a connection? Is there not a connection? What does the verse read? Let's go back to the verse. As ordained by Allah, blood relatives are more entitled to inheritance than other believers and immigrants. What did the Prophet inherit here? Man kuntu mawla fa aliyun mawla. Why did the Prophet remind them of his authority? It's because to ridicule the bakwas, the bullshit claim of Mawla meaning friend. And what did the Prophet inherit? That the verse was revealed at the time saying that blood relatives are more entitled to inheritance. What did the Prophet inherit here? Was it not authoritism? Is it not authority over the believers? As in, the Prophet reminds the believers, all believing men and women, that I have authority over you and Ali has authority over you. And to add the masala, to add the spice to the uncooked chicken, the Prophet further on goes to narrate, sallallahu alaihi wa sallam, Allah, look at this. He says, اللهم والي من والى وعادي من عادى. Subhan. What is this? What is the prophecy? First, he appointed Ali as authority over the people. Then he says, "Oh Allah, support them who supports Ali, who supports this message, who supports Ali, and rival them who rival Ali." Does this hold any weight, brothers and sisters? Does this line, Allahumma wali man wala wa adi man ada, does it not hold weight? Yes, it does. The Prophet is saying, "Oh Allah, whoever does not take Ali as his leader over him, remove your mercy from him and support him. Have your mercy on that person who agrees that Ali is his Mawla, Ali is his leader, Ali has authority over him." And this particular narration has over 10 chains of narrators, or 10 chains in different books, and the isnad is sahih. In Fadail al-Sahaba by Ahmad ibn Hanbal, exact same thing, it's not sahih. In Sahih ibn Hibban, exact same thing, it's not sahih. In Manaqib Amir al-Mu'mineen, exact same thing, it's not sahih. In Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya by Ibn Kathir, exact same thing. هذا مسلم مسند الإمام الأحمد وإسناد صحيح. Same thing in Majma' al-Zawaid, same exact thing. And the Rijal, all of the narrators are Sahih, Fiqh, وهذا إسناد صحيح. In Silsilat al-Hadith al-Sahih by Ibn al-Bani, exact same thing. And interestingly, Al-Bani says it's not a Sahih ala Shart al-Bukhari. What does that mean? That this verse meets the criteria of Bukhari. It is Sahih on the condition of Bukhari, but he does not narrate this. Because why would Bukhari narrate? Let's be honest, he does not want to narrate this. Again, another source. It's not Sahih Rijal al-Thiqat Masha. In Mukhtasar Fadail Amir al-Mu'min, Mukhtasar, MashaAllah, Mukhtasar, this is Mukhtasar. This is not Mukhtasar, Wallah, this is not Mukhtasar. But anyways, it's not Sahih. If this is Mukhtasar, Wallah, I don't know. In Kashf al-Star, same exact thing. In Khasais Amir al-Mu'mineen, same exact thing. In Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya, same exact thing. In Tarikh Medina Islam, Tarikh Medina Dimishq, sorry, same exact thing. I don't know why the quality of the scans is so bad here, but just don't mind it. Kitab Fadail al-Sahaba, exact same thing, it's not Sahih. Kashf al-Bayan fi Tafsir al-Quran, same exact thing. In Tarikh Medina Dimishq again, same exact thing. In Tarikh al-Tabari, same exact thing. This is my brother, my agent, and my successor among me. Again, we look at Tariq al-Tabari. These are all the chains. These are all the men in the chain. All of them are thick. I do not even have to go to prove they're thick. This is a very long hadith, so you can just pause to read it if you want. But this is what's important. This is my brother, my agent, and my successor among you, so listen to him and obey him. Another source, Rijal al-Shaykhain fil Hadith al-Sahih. Another source. This is a very, very old source, but it's still the same exact hadith. We read in Tariq al-Tabari again. You can pause to read. Tariq al-Tabari. This is my brother, my agent, and my successor among you, so listen to him and obey him. In Kitab al-Sharia, or Shia, sorry. قال رسول الله من كنت مولاه فعلي المولى. هذا إسناد صحيح. Again, قال من كنت مولاه فعلي المولى بالسند صحيح. Another source. قال رسول الله من كنت مولاه فعلي المولى إسناد صحيح. المطالب العالية same thing. قال من كنت مولاه فعلي المولى وهذا إسناد الصحيح. مجمع الزوائد same thing. رجال الصحيح من كنت مولاه فعلي المولى same exact thing over here. قال من كنت مولاه فعلي المولى هذا إسناد الصحيح. مجمع الزوائد again. رجال الصحيح رجال الصحيح with the إسناد الحسن same exact thing. إسناد صحيح من كنت مولاه فعلي المولى. صحيح بالحبان هذا إسناد حسن. رجال الثقات رجال الشيخين. من تاريخ مدينة دمشق كان same exact thing. كتاب السنة same exact thing. كتاب السنة again same exact thing. مستدرك على الصحيحين exact same thing. and تفسير الدر المنثور same exact thing. narrated Abu Sayyid al-Khudri same exact thing. And these are the sources for the words I used above, but they also contain the Sunnah al-Ghadeer, but I did not want to mention it up there, so I quoted them again over here. Same exact thing. Same exact thing. narrated Abu Sayyid al-Khudri, Tariq Medina Dimashq, and Khasais Ali. Oh, oops, my bad. هذا إسناد صحيح. in البداية والنهاية same exact thing. in كتاب السنة same exact thing. So I just want to go over how many sources I just quoted for one narration. Let's just take a look. MashaAllah. This many number of narrations of one single hadith, and all of them are sahih. No, why do you deny this? How come you still deny a hadith that reaches the level beyond that of a tawatur? Why is it that you still deny this? Like, I don't know what goes to the brains of these nawasib. Why do you still reject such a beautiful narration with so many chains and they're all sahih? Now I want to come to something very interesting. So I found these narrations on Musnad Ahmad ibn Hanbal, and this one's not important, but these are important. See, the translators have done such a butcher of translation. What are we translating Mawla to? Friend and supporter. And what did he translate? Allahumma wali man wala wa adi man adatu. Take as friends those who take him as friends, and take them as enemies and those take as enemies. Oh, mashallah. Again, if I am a person's mawla, friend and supporter, then Ali is his mawla. Take them as friends who take him as friends. You know what I mean? This is such blasphemy. This is what we call bakwas. This is what we call cope. Because there are still some people who believe Mawla means friend, right? Like these are so many sources. Like look, Take them as friends, as those who take friend and supporter. The word therefore here slave and those who read ex-slave. Like, come on, Habibi, what is this? And what does he say here? Changing one's Mawla means giving the right of inheritance to a no Mawla. What does he say here? The word Mawla refers to one who manumits a slave and who has right to inherit from an ex-slave. There's no words, Wallah, no words. This is just stupidity. Again, take him as friends who Allah take his friends and those who take him as his friend. Yani, like, Habibi, what goes through your head? What goes through your head when you narrate stuff like that? When you translate, when you butcher a translation like this, what goes through your head? Do you not fear Allah? Is there no fear of Allah in your heart? Because wallah, if you feared Allah, you would not do a great sin like this. This wallah, you are committing a sin by changing the word of, like, no words, wallah, no words. But anyways, I'll come back to this. I'll be refuting whether mullah means friend or not. But even in Al-Kafi, we have the same exact narration of Hadith. Now I'm going to be moving on to a topic that will have the Nawasib questioning their faith. This, brothers and sisters, what I'm going to show you right now is like a bullet to the heart of the Nawasib. What is that topic? That topic is Umar congratulating Imam Ali on his appointment of Mawla. This is a very, very, very crucial part of this whole lecture. Because if Mawla means friend, then would Umar be congratulating Imam Ali for becoming everyone's friend? And to add emphasis on that, let's look at what it actually says, right? This is a bit hard for me to read, so I'll just go over here. Alright. So we read in Tarikh Madinat Dimashq the same exact narration, right, of Hadith of Ghadeer. But I want you to focus on something very, very important. It says here, فقال عمر قال من كنت مولى فعلي. Then it says فقال عمر بن الخطاب بخ لك يا ابن أبي طالب أصبحت مولاي ومولاه كل مسلم فأنزل الله اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم. Surah Al-Ma'idah, right? ومن صام يوم السبعة العشرين من رجب وكتب له صياما 60 شهرا وهو أول يوم جبرائيل على محمد بالرسالة. So after the Prophet narrated the Hadith of Ghadeer, Umar comes up and he congratulates Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, and he says, congratulations, O son of Abu Talib, you have just become the Mawla of all believing men and women. Now, the Nawasib here like to play the chain game, and they say, oh no, the narrators of this are all weak. Let's take a look. The first narrator we have is Abdullah ibn Ali ibn Muhammad ibn Abdullah bin Bashran. What is his rutbah? His rutbah is Thuqa. Yani he is trustworthy. The second is Ali ibn Umar ibn Ahmad ibn Mahdi ibn Mas'ud ibn Nu'man bin Dinar bin Abdullah. What is his rutbah? What is this rutbah? His confidence in keeping an argument. The next we have is Habshun bin Musa bin Ayub. What is his rutbah? Saduq Hassan al-Hadith. Saduq Hassan al-Hadith. Good talk. He is Saduq. He is trustworthy. He is Hassan al-Hadith. You question the authority? Next we have Ali ibn Sa'id. What is his rutbah? Saduq Hassan al-Hadith. Same exact thing. Level trustworthy. Next we have Dara bin Rabi'a, or Damra bin Abi, my apologies. What is his rutbah? He is trustworthy. These translations are bad, but you get the point. And then we have Abdullah bin Shawdhab. What is his level? What is his rutbah? He is trustworthy. Next we have Madhar bin Tuhman. What is his rutbah? Right? The translation is wrong, but he is Hassan. He talks weak, but his narrations are Hassan. Next we have Shahr bin Hawshab. What is his rutbah? Saduq. Right? Saduq. Then we have more dalil on Umar congratulating Ali ibn Abi Talib. قال عمر. Right. فقال عمر فقيل عمر مولاه كل مؤمن والمؤمنة. You have just been appointed Mawla on all of the believing men and the believing women. Same thing right here. قال فقيل عمر بعد ذلك فقال حنينا يا ابن أبي طالب أسبحت وأمسيت مولى كل مؤمن والمؤمنة مؤمنون والمؤمنات. هذا إسناد صحيح. صحيح. Same exactly. فقيل عمر مولى كل مؤمن والمؤمنة in تفسير الرازي. Same exact thing. فقال عمر مؤمن والمؤمنات تفسير غرائب القرآن. Same exact thing. And we've already went over these, but this is just adding the point that Umar congratulated Imam Ali alayhi salam. Same exact thing over here in Tariq Madinah Dimashq, in Musnad Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Same exact thing. فقال عمر يا ابن أبي طالب مولاك المؤمن والمؤمن. Same exact thing. Same exact thing. In Musnad Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Same exact thing. Why am I emphasizing on Umar congratulating Mawla Ali? Because if Mawla meant friend, why would Umar congratulating Mawla Ali and saying that you are the Mawla of all of the believing mu'minina wal mu'minat, the believing men and the believing women? Why? Is he the friend The Prophet narrated so many narrations about Imam Ali. You are to me, أنت مني بمنزلة هارون وموسى. أنت أخي. Ali is from me and I am from Ali. Don't you represent me by Ali. But here, no, he needs friend. And why would the Prophet? I'm not going to that right now because the very next topic is refuting Mawla and Wali meaning friend. Now, before I actually move on to refuting this blasphemous claim, this horrible cult, there's a question that why was this sermon not declared in Mecca in front of all the pilgrims while the Prophet was performing Hajj? One should note that the majority of the people returned home from Mecca via a different route from Ghadeer. It can be observed from this map. There are two lines. There is a red line and there is a green line. The green line represents the way the Prophet traveled. The travelers would commute from Mecca to Medina. And the red line represents the way the Prophet traveled from Medina to Medina when he was hiding in the cave from the kuffar. Now observe the position, right? Observe the position of Mecca, which is in the middle of the mountains. Mecca. Where is Mecca? Wait, I can't find Mecca. Okay, here is Mecca. I'm just blind. My apologies for that. Okay, so if you look at where Mecca is in the middle of the mountains, we observe that there is no actual direct route to Mecca due to mountainous terrains, and hence the people would need to travel via where? Via Ghadeer, where people would go to their own respective ways to return home, right? Now, in order to refute the claim of Mawla meaning friend, we need to go back to this verse, right? And even, I've got to add that even if we were to assume that majority of the people left at their point and the only remaining people are those who belong to Medina, we can quite possibly say that the great wisdom behind the exact location of the declaration that the people of Medina were bent in hypocrisy. And this is proven in the Quran in Surah Tawbah verse 101, that the hypocrites will come to the Prophet and they will say that we bear witness that you are the people, that you are the messenger of Allah. And who were they? They were the people of Medina. Now the Prophet wanted this event to be memorable and wished for it to be embedded in the minds of the people so that no claims would come and no claims would be made thereafter that it was something that should be forgotten. If this was the reason for the people were stopped in an unusual spot in the middle of their travels, such as Ghadeer, more importantly, it was where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided the message should be delivered. And Allah is the best of the plans. We cannot question where this sermon took place. The Prophet transformed his guardianship, his authority to Ali ibn Abi Talib, right? And from this verse, obviously, we saw that the Prophet holds authority. My apologies right there. That the Prophet holds authority over the believers than they do over themselves, right? And we have already gone over that the blood relatives hold more entitled to inheritance than other believers and immigrants. Now, when trying to understand the term Mawla within this narration, we need to look at the whole context of the incident, the root word of Mawla and Wali. Now, this word can be used to create many verbs in many forms, such as Awla, Wali, Wilaya, Mawla, and so on and so forth, right? Here we see the Prophet use all three words in the same narration. The first time he was asked, when he used it, he asked, am I not the Awla over the believers? Am I not someone who has authority over the believers? The second time he used it was when he actually narrated Man kuntu mawla fa aliyun mawla. The third time he used it is that may Allah be the wali of whomsoever is the wali of Ali. Now all three words have the same root meaning. All of these have the same root, wali. In order to prove that the second word Mawla means guardian, we need to understand that the first and last sentence. In terms of the first one, the Prophet was actually referring to the Holy Quran, in chapter 33, verse 6, this one right here, right? That the Prophet is closer to the believers. In this verse, in the Arabic, we find the word awla, right here. Awla min anfusihim, and wa awlu, right? Awla. The term of awla here means guardian, i.e. someone who has control over others, right? Or who has ownership over the believers. Thus, a person can make decisions for a believer without their permission, right? From this, we can establish that the first sentence in the hadith referring to guardianship, the Prophet ﷺ wanted the companions to acknowledge his guardianship. He wanted them to admit that yes, he does have indeed guardianship over us, authority over us. And then he said, when they said, Bala ya Rasulullah, indeed Rasulullah, you do have authority over us. Then he said, فَمَنْ كُنْتَ مَوْلَى فَعَلِيًا. Now in order to prove that Mawla and Awla have the same meaning, we must consider the following. Number one, the context. Those two sentences must be in context with each other. The Prophet asked the believers to admit something and then went on to make a statement. Like I said before, this has a direct relation. To make it even clearer, the Prophet ﷺ used the prefix fa. فَمَنْ كُنْتِ مَوْلَى فَهَذَا عَلِيٌّ before the sentence, right? Fa is equivalent to then in Arabic. This further proves the direct relation between the statements. This proves the relation between what was said earlier and to what was going on, right? Now the Prophet used the same meaning in the two sentences, otherwise does not make sense for them to connect, right? Additionally, it would be a source of immense confusion, because why would he intend to mean differently and yet form a relation between the two, right? Especially for Awla and Mawla have the same root. It proves a relation between what was said earlier and what is going to be said next, like I mentioned. Now, before we actually go on to absolutely demolishing this argument of Mawla being friend, of Wali meaning friend, what is the dalil? What is the argument that the opposing sects bring? You know what they bring? They say, oh, when the Prophet sent Khalid ibn Walid and Imam Ali and a few others to Yemen to preach about Islam, they had a quarrel. They had some sort of arguments. And one source that they bring is that Ali found himself upon a slave woman. And the companions, when they met Rasulullah, they complained about Ali. And the Prophet, his face turned red. And he said, what do you need from Ali? What do you need from Ali? What do you need from Ali? 3 times. And then he said, for Ali is from me and I am from Ali. And Ali is my wali after you. Sorry, Ali is the wali on the believers after me. He is your successor, he is my successor, he is your leader. This is the dalil, this is the argument they bring. And what is that reply to? A reply to that is, in the words of Sayyid Nasr, may Allah bless him, I genuinely love that guy. He says that, Alhamdulillah, Allah has made our enemies stupid. Right? Allah has made our enemies brain dead. He has made our enemies stupid. They cannot ponder on the fact that this narration Mawla and Wali mean friend. And the argument of the quarrel and the slave situation, that was a year ago, Habibi. That was after the conquest of Makkah. Ghadeer took place in the year 10th after Hijrah. That took place in the year 9th after Hijrah. At least get your history right, bro. The narration I was talking about can be found in Jami al-Tirmidhi. And it says right here, I'm not going to go over the full hadith, I just show you what it is. But look at this. The Messenger of Allah faced him with anger. And he said, what do you want from Ali? What do you want from Ali? What do you want from Ali? Indeed, Ali is from me and I am from him. And he is the ally of believers after me. Now again, another butcher has been done here. Because the Arabic says, وَأَنَا مِنْهُ وَهُوَ وَلِيُّ كُلِّ مُؤْمِنٍ مِنِّي بَعْدِ or min ba'di, right? Now I'm firstly going to refute this horrible polemic using nothing but logic alone. If Mawla means friend, if Wali means friend, then logically speaking, does that result in the Prophet gathering over 100,000 people, over 120,000 Muslims, only to tell them, yeah, this guy Ali is my friend? In case you didn't know, I already said, he's my akhi. I already said, Ya Ali, inta minni bimanzilati Harun al-Musa. Ya Ali, you are from me and I am from you. But no, this guy is your friend. Secondly, there is an ijma in every school of thought that the Prophet ﷺ never said nor did anything without the will of Allah. So either you're telling me that the Prophet went against the will of Allah and announced Ali as his friend, or you're telling me that Allah, walaya'udhu billah, that this was Allah's decision, so that the people know that your brother, that your cousin, is everyone's friend. Yani, where is the logic? Where is the logic? SubhanAllah, like, are you guys that brain dead? Are you guys that seriously that brain dead? Like, can you not put together two brain cells to give the explanation of this hadith? Going back to the first verse of O Prophet, reveal all that is revealed. And if you do not, you have not revealed this message. Is the message of Allah to say that, oh, Ali is your friend? Allah, I need these answers. Anyways, this alone, like logically alone, you can refute this dumb polemic. Like, it's such a stupid argument that even a 4-year-old can refute this. Even a 4-year-old can come up to you and say, but Ya Mufti, Ya Sheikh, yes, Ya Sheikh, how? How does Mawla mean friend? Why would the Prophet gather 120,000 people only to say that this man is my friend? Think about it. Wallah, think about it and answer. Anyways, now we move on to some sources that prove that Ali is the Wali of the Prophet and the Wali of Allah. In Lisan al-Arab, we read that فقال, so we read that this is going over the incident of Khalid ibn Walid and Ali. Interesting fact, Khalid ibn Walid was in Yemen for 6 months, and according to Tariq al-Tabari, he converted not even a single soul to Islam. 6 months, and Imam Ali on his arrival converted the entirety of Yemen to Islam. There's a difference, you cannot compare the two. One is the lie of Allah and one is a rapist. So, anyways, another source. This is also going over the incident of Khalid ibn Walid and Ali in Yemen. كل ولي الأمر وقال بها مولى ووسيلة. This is the Prophet saying this. Look at this. You can pause to read this all, inshallah. منهاج السنة والنبوة, same exact thing. علي ولي كل مؤمن بعدي. علي كل مؤمن بعدي. Right? Muslim Ahmad ibn Hanbal, same exact thing. In Amali by Sheikh al-Mufid, sorry, in Hadith, Silsilat al-Hadith al-Sahihah, same exact thing. In Al-Amali by Sheikh al-Saduq, Manaqib Ali, same exact thing. Same exact thing. علي مني وأنا منه وهو ولي كل مؤمن. In Sunnah Tirmidhi, same exact thing. ما تريدون علي ما تريدون من علي ما تريدون من علي إن علي مني وأنا منه وهو ولي كل مؤمن من بعدي. هذا حديث حسن الخليل. Right? مسند أبو يعلى الموصلي, same exact thing. ما تريدون علي ما تريدون من علي ما تريدون من علي علي مني وأنا منه وهو ولي كل مؤمن بعدي. صحيح ابن حبان. Same exactly. Same exactly. ما تريدون علي ما تريدون من علي ما تريدون من علي إن علي مني وأنا منه وهو ولي كل مؤمن بعدي. Right? Another source. الكتاب السنة, same source. إسناد الصحيح رجال ثقات لا شرط مسلم. من تاريخ الإسلام, same exact thing. من سير علام النبلاء, سير علام النبلاء, sorry, butchered that name, but same exact thing. Same exact thing. كنز الأعمال, same exact thing. جامع الأحاديث, same exact thing. Same exact thing. مجمع الزوائد, same exact thing. بداية والنهاية, same exact thing. Same exact thing. مستدرك على الصحيحين, same exact thing. هذا حديث صحيح. Right? صحيح. مسند داوود الطيالسي, sorry. Same thing. Same thing. كتاب السنة. وأنت خليفتي وكل مؤمن بعدي. Very clear words from the Prophet. Ya Ali, you are the Khalifa after me, and you are the Khalifa of every movement after me. Same thing in Kitab Sunnah. Ali minni wa ana minhu, sorry. Wa huwa wali kulli mu'min min ba'di. Hada is not sahih. Now, look at this, interesting. This is Tafsir al-Tabari, okay? What does it say? أخي وكذا وكذا أخي وكذا وكذا. This is Tabari playing with the hadith. He completely changed the hadith from Anta Khalifati wa wasi wa kulli mu'min ba'di to هذا أخي هذا أخي هذا إني أخي هذا مني أخي. And the same thing Ibn al-Jawzi plays with the hadith first. علي أن يكون أخي MashaAllah. And the thing is that this hadith is muharraf, and they cut out the rest of the hadith. It's in Tarikh al-Tabari. This is my brother, my agent, my successor among me. Kitab Fadail al-Sahaba with a sahih chain. قال رسول الله من كنت ولي فعلي ولي من كنت ولي فعلي ولي. And the hadith, and the isnad is sahih in Tarikh al-Tabari. Same exact thing. علي أن يكون أخي ووسي وخليفتي فيكم قال إن هذا أخي وسي وخليفتي ما شاء الله. Again, رأيت من علي ما شاء الله. Look at this. ما شاء الله. مجموعة السوائد. Again. Oops. المستدرك. Sorry, المستد. Yep, مستد الإمام أحمد بن حنبل. وده الصحيح صح. الصحيح شيء. من تاريخ الطبري. وده الصحيح شيء. المستدرك على الصحيحين. وده الصحيح شيء. أحاديث صحيح سلسلة الأحاديث الصحيحة ابن الباني وده صحيح شيء. Same thing. Oops, that's my bad. Kitab al-Sunnah, same exact thing. This is a proof, then I'll show you even more proof that Ali is indeed the wali of the Prophet. What is wali? The guardian after the Prophet, the leader after the Prophet. And now interestingly, Abu Bakr, when addressing to himself as Mawla or wali, he uses it as successor. Why is it that Abu Bakr uses it as Mawla, as successor? But when it comes to Imam Ali, no, it means friend. In Sahih al-Bukhari, this is a very long hadith, so I'm just going to summarize where Abu Bakr says that I am the successor, the wali of the Messenger of Allah. When Abu Bakr passed away, Umar became his successor. And Umar himself again says that I am the wasi, I am the successor of the Prophet. And the same thing in Sahih Muslim. Right? But brothers and sisters, if this is not enough proof for them, then the final proof we give them is the proof that they cannot deny. Why is Ali the wali? Let's judge by the verse of Wilayah, which is the 55th verse of Surah Al-Ma'idah, which is the 5th chapter of the Holy Quran. إِنَّمَا وَلِيُّكُمُ اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ وَرَسُولَهُ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَالَّذِينَ يَقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَيَؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ وَهُمْ راكعون. Your only guardians are Allah, His Messenger, and fellow believers who establish prayer and pay alms, pay tax, and with Him. If I prove that this verse was about Amir al-Mu'min, will you deny the verse of the Holy Quran? This verse says that only Allah is your guardian and His Messenger. Only Allah is your wali and His Messenger, and those among Him who establish prayer and give zakat in the state of ruku with humility. Who is that believer? Who? We read in Tafsir Durr al-Manthur that this was revealed for Ali ibn Abi Talib. Revealed for Ali ibn Abi Talib, revealed for Ali ibn Abi Talib, for Ali ibn Abi Talib, for Ali ibn Abi Talib, for Ali ibn Abi Talib. another source. This was revealed for Ali ibn Abi Talib. In Tafsir al-Tabari بلغ عنهم أنها نزلت في علي ibn Abi Talib. And let's take a look at the chain of narration. The first guy we have is Hanad bin al-Sarri, and his rutbah is trustworthy. He is trustworthy. The second guy we have is Abdullah bin Sulaiman, trustworthy. The next guy we have is Abdullah bin Malik, rutbah trustworthy. Trustworthy, right? In Asbab al-Nuzul, we have this chain, and as I just showed you, this chain is very, very sahih, very, very. It's all of these narratives are fiqh. You cannot deny the chain. Kashf al-Bayan states, look, إنما وليكم الله ورسوله was revealed for Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib. My apologies for that once again. In Majma' al-Zawad, same thing. It was revealed for Ali ibn Abi Talib. So now will you reject the words of Allah? This proves to us that Ali is indeed the wali of both Allah and His Messenger. And this proves that the word Mawla, the word wali does not mean friend, it means successor, it means guardianship, it means authority, it means leadership. My brothers and sisters, I want to show you a very, very interesting narration, an interesting verse as well, which is called the verse of punishment. This is in chapter 70. A challenger has demanded a punishment bound to come for the disbelievers to be averted by none. From Allah, Lord of the pathways of heavenly ascent. Basically, during Ali's successorship, someone from the crowd challenged the Prophet. He said, if this is from Allah, if what you are saying is from Allah, punish me. This is a more clearer verse for Kashf al-Bayan. It says that when he questioned, Allah sent a bird with a pebble down on him. The bird threw the pebble down on him, which resulted in his death. Look at this. It's the same exact verse. Even in Tafsir al-Burhan, right? What does this prove? Yani look at this. Look at the weight of Hadith of Ghadeer. A challenger, he challenged the Rasul. He said, if this is from Allah, punish me. Allah punished him. He killed him right there. He said, if this is from Allah, kill me right here. Allah punished him and killed him right there. And people still disregard Hadith of Ghadeer. They still deny Hadith of Ghadeer. SubhanAllah. Moving on, let's prove that Hadith of Ghadeer, yani Eid al-Ghadeer, is Eid al-Akbar. Right? We Shi'as believe that Eid al-Ghadeer is Eid al-Akbar. We read in Mawsu'atu al-Hadith al-Ahl al-Bayt that Fridays are cleaning up. Fridays are for cleaning up and putting on perfume. Then they're even better than Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. Eid al-Ghadeer, the day of Eid al-Ghadeer, is the noblest of Eid. It is on the 18th of the month of Dhul-Hijjah. The riser alayhi salam of us, the Ahlul Bayt, will rise on Friday. Yani Hujjatul Qaim, Imam Sahib al-Zaman, will resurrect on Friday. He will come out on Friday. And the chain of narration is Sahih. Now another interesting thing I want to show you is a promise to Iblis on this day. What was the promise to Iblis? This is a very, very, very interesting narration. By Shaykh Abbas al-Kummi in Tafsir al-Kummi, he says that about the statement of Allah, when Allah ordered his appointment, the appointment of Ali, when the Prophet appointed Ali, Satan was like, what? The devil started mourning by throwing dust on their heads, saying, what is this? And Iblis said to them, what is the matter? They said, this man has tied a tie today and nothing can open it till the day of judgment. Now Iblis said to them, verily, those who were around him have promised me there's something about this and they will never break. Masha. Subhanallah. And all the narrators are Sahih are going to believe Jawaks. Now let's take a look at the Amal of Hadith of Ghadeer, or the Eid al-Ghadeer. The Amal of Eid al-Ghadeer by Shaykh al-Saduq in his book Kitab Thawab al-Amal, he says that is narrated to us through Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam, through Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam, that what should we do on Eid al-Ghadeer? And he replied, fast. For fasting executes 60 years worth of sins. 60 years worth of sins. And fasting on this day is equal to fasting for 60 months. 60 months. Subhanallah. Now we move on to my concluding point. On the point on which I will conclude this debate. Conclude this lecture. What is that? That this was the day our religion was perfected. How? I will show you how. Again, we read in Mawsa'atu al-Hadith al-Bayt that during Hadith of Ghadeer, the following verse of Allah Almighty, where He says, on this day I have perfected your religion. I have completed to you your favors and you chosen Islam as your religion. This was the day Allah perfected our religion. This is my concluding point. This is my concluding point to prove the importance of Hadith of Ghadeer, the importance of Eid al-Ghadeer, why it's important to us Shias, why it is the lead for the appointment of Amir al-Mu'minin Ali ibn Abi Talib as the Wasi, as the Khalifa, as the Mawla of all believers, for Mu'minuna wal Mu'minat. Brothers and sisters, I ask you to raise your hands in dua. Ya Allah, bihaqqi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allow us to get more close to our deen. Allow us to walk on your path, on the path of your messenger, on the path of his Ahlul Bayt. Ya Allah, bihaqqi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Remove the blindness from the hearts of the people. Allow them to accept this day. Ya Allah, bihaqqi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allow us Give us enough health, give us enough life to witness Hadith of Ghadeer, witness Eid al-Ghadeer next year as well and in the upcoming years. Ya Allah, bihaqqi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Give us enough life to commemorate the month of Muharram, to mourn over Imam al-Hussein. Ya Allah, bihaqqi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allow us to remain steadfast in prayers, steadfast in any amal we do. Ya Allah, bihaqqi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Make the Quran an essential part in our deen. Make us love the Quran. Ya Allah, bihaqqi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Hasten the appearance of the Imam of our waqt, Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman. Ya Allah, bihaqqi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Make us steadfast in our faith that we be able to take part in the army of Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman. Ya Allah, bihaqqi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allow us to share whatever knowledge we have about Islam. Ya Allah, bihaqqi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allow us, grant us the shifa of the Masumeen on the Day of Judgment. Sallallahu ala khayri khalqi ajma'in. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajjal faraj. I hope you guys enjoyed this lecture, and I hope this was helpful for you to understand the importance of this day, importance of this Eid, importance of Hadith of Ghadeer. And I wish you all the best of luck in whatever you do. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.